Hello, I'm going to give you a tiny little bit of a violin YouTube tutorial. It's because I've got quite a few beginners on the violin, and even if you're not a beginner, this would still be useful for you. So first of all, we're going to talk about the bowing, because I go on and on a lot about how important the wrist is. So I'm going to show you, I've actually brought a paintbrush here. So if you could find a paintbrush at home and practice doing like this against the walls in your house, big strokes, because when you go up, the important thing is, as soon as you've finished going up, your brush carries on. If you watch it, then when you're going down, I'm starting to go up, but my brush is carrying on, and so it never stops. Another thing I mention is about the tumble turns, because I'm quite a keen swimmer when we're allowed to swim. And when I love doing tumble turns because you never stop, rather than going to the end and stop. Because what we don't want to have is violin bowing that goes like this. Where we were. So you may notice I'm quite happy just at the end of the stroke to not have my bow parallel, because we all know we try to keep it parallel. When you get to the top, it can just bend a tiny little bit. And I'm not going to the ends because you can't quite see, but point is come right up there. Some of the other things I talk about is trying to get your hand like a swan. So this is the head of the swan, and then comes down, and that's just everything. This arm here, the upper arm, mustn't go back, because if you do that, this is what happens to your bow, and that's not good. So we have to keep that. If you watch my upper arm, it's not really doing very much at all. It's all in the bottom. And if I go right to the end, so the bow can tilt a little bit just at the extremities, but most of the time it's just parallel. So you do need to spend some time every day doing just bowing. And then just check your bow hold. If you could make it, it takes a lot of people a while, but the little finger can't bend around like that, like everybody else, like the other fingers. So it tips on the side, and these fingers go nicely wrapped around parallel motion, but everything is in here. So I also tell people to try like holding a pencil. If you hold a pencil and you write down, you're doing everything with this finger and your thumb, bending like that. You wouldn't hold a pencil like, well, I hope you wouldn't, with your thumb sticking out. So keep your thumb bent that way, about opposite this finger. That is the one, this is the driver. So if you watch there, you don't actually do that each time, but it could. So things to practice on the bow, making it bounce in the middle. This bit, about a third of the way up, is a really good, comfortable time. It's called the balancing point. Make it flick. Okay, another thing I go on about is retake. So when you do a retake, a lovely big circle, because then you started the motion before your bow hits the string. Sorry, I'm making that skate a bit because I'm watching the screen, not watching. It is a good idea to keep watching. You can actually sometimes practice the violin bowing out here. Otherwise your eyes get a bit tired watching just like that. Every day, some very important bowing, little circles. Okay, so that's enough on the bow. The other thing I wanted to show you is this hand here. Now, even if you haven't learned to do vibrato, I can hear a lovely swooshing noise. So what I'm doing is I'm rubbing gently across along the string. Notice how this is one unit. I don't get my wrist bend. If you do that, when you come to doing vibrato, it will be a horrible vibrato. And when you come to squish your finger, like your fingers will be all squished. So nicely up, so rounded, a bit curved over. And you can do lots of practice, just you probably can't hear on this YouTube tutorial, but you can make your fingers bend like that, do little exercises. You can see them working nicely, but keep this straight, don't like that. I often talk about don't make it like a frying pan, make it not like that, an upright thing. There isn't really a pan diagonal, but nicely diagonal. If you are at this stage you're doing vibrato, this is the best thing to do. Practice up and down the string and then gradually minimise it, so you're going like that eventually. You need to practice lots and lots of this without doing any playing at all with your bow. So you really go big up and down like this. Obviously when you get to there, you can't, you have to get your wrist going in. That's more like the swan again, isn't it? So like this, up and down like that, in and out here. Not like this, that's terrible. You've got to keep that fairly sort of. And then when you feel you're ready, then you do a thing, you go. Keep it nice and. So you're allowed to wobble your hand a bit. I've been watching a very good violinist. I'm going to give you a date. She's called Mio Takahashi. She's in the Young Musician of the Year, one of students at the school I used to teach at. Keep her like that. She's practiced hours and hours of her technique. And I've seen her using her wrist a bit. But get the motion going like that. Okay? So if you put it all into practice and you play your Twinkle Little Star. And I'm going to do a retake here. I'll leave you. The reason I didn't go to the end of the bow is because I'm sitting down. If you sit down, you actually need to sit down so that your legs has this one leg apart. Sorry about my trousers. So your leg is a bit apart here, so you can bow there like that. Otherwise, if you sit like that, you're stuck. You can't get to the end. Okay, that's all the violin tutorial for today. Bye bye. Enjoy your practice.